Hey, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. Well, I am going to be doing a couple of workout videos next week on arms and legs, but weather is not cooperating today. So I wanted to finish off this section on some of the different at-home products that I have acquired over the years at fairly low cost that allows me to do all my workouts at home. So that's what I wanted to talk about, and the reason why I started doing workouts at home was because of COVID. 5 years ago during 2020, when they shut down all the gyms, I've been going to CrossFit and a couple other places, to work out at, and I didn't have any equipment at home. COVID happens, they shut down the gyms, and I still want to work out. And so I start looking around trying to find, relatively low cost weights, etc., because that's what I was used to. And frankly, they just didn't exist at that particular moment. They were all bought out by people trying to create home gyms. So I was really kind of at a loss. And then about that time, Shawn Baker did a video on reviewing the X3 bar, and that got me interested in this book called Weightlifting is a Waste of Time and the X3 and band training. And I realized pretty quickly that bands were a fairly low cost alternative and actually maybe have some superiority in some ways over other things. So I started with that, started creating my own home gym over time, and I've spent a few $100 on different things, but not anything outrageous. I mean, all the things that I've bought are usually on sale at Amazon. So here's kind of a list of things that I've got at my house to be able to do all the workouts that I really want to be able to do, and I'm going to try to explain what each piece of equipment is, how much they go for, and why I think they're important. Now, if you were going to use bands, let me suggest that the first thing you may want to invest in is a pair of mechanics gloves. And relatively inexpensive. I got these over at Ollie's or something like that. Fairly low cost, but why would you want them? Because the bands are rough on the hands. So having gloves on your hands actually makes a lot of sense. That will keep you from hurting yourself later on. Now, one other piece of equipment that I've found over time is a Pilo box. And you may be going, oh, why would you want a box? Well, I use it for jumping. One of the things that I have learned is that one of the things that really kills you is your loss of fast twitch muscles. Now, there's something about this idea of being able to quickly be able to jump up. I started off kind of stepping up, and then got to the point where I was hopping up and down on the box, and would do that for a minute or so at a time, and that would help me to build up fast twitch muscles and build up more coordination. And I found this one on sale during Prime Day for like $25. So relatively inexpensive thing. It goes up to 16 inches. It's not like anything astronomical as far as cost, but boy, just being able to jump a few inches at a time, a foot, up to 16 inches, is a relatively good use of money, and it helps build up fast twitch muscles, which are going to help you out in the long run. Now, some of the other equipment that I've gotten over the years. My son got me these. These are little things that help with push-ups, and you can also put them behind you, do tricep extensions, you can do them for push-ups, etc. They're a nice heavy piece of equipment that change the dynamics of push-ups a little bit, because one of the ways that you can really gain more muscle with a push-up is to go pull down where it pulls against that chest muscle, and that's where you're going to really build a lot of it. You're going to strengthen your chest by one going down, called the eccentric position, and then the full extension. Either one, both of those are really good, and these help extend that a little bit more. And so they're not a bad little thing that my son got me for Christmas or my birthday, and it was a great little gift. Something else that I have purchased over time or gotten as gifts are kettlebells. And I've got some of different weights. This is about 25 pounds, and it's about the right size for me to be able to do kettlebell swings. So you just take it and you just hinge and you go back and forth. And I'm telling you, you do about 25 of those and you will kind of start getting a little short of breath. So, not bad use of cash. And there's a lot of other things that you can do with them. One thing I will do about once a week or so is just do a carry where I walk a mile, a couple of times a day. It's right around my neighborhood. And I'll walk the first part carrying this in one hand for the first half and then switch hands for the other half. And it will help really build your core and increase the stability of your hips, etc., by carrying it on different sides. And you're walking kind of off balance. So again, not a bad use of a little bit of cash. It's not very expensive, but if you can find them on sale, that's great. I also got a bigger one. This is a 50-pound one that I got over somewhere. And again, kettlebell swings with this, very challenging, but I also use it for a thing called Around the Worlds, which is where you swing this thing around you. And again, core stability exercise, you're building up, these side muscles doing it. You don't have to get one of these, but, relatively inexpensive and very handy. And again, you can do, practice carrying it with one hand or the other, moving around. You can get kettlebells, depending on how strong you are and where you're starting off. There's plastic covered ones with concrete in them that have weights from 10, 12 pounds, and they go up. So the more weight, as the stronger you get, the more weight you may want to acquire, and you may want to acquire more of these different things over time. One of the things that I got when I was looking for workout equipment but couldn't find any, I finally found somebody that was willing to sell used dumbbells, and I got 20-pound ones. And why would you want those? Well, at the time there was a really good set that Jeff Cavaliere had on a whole body workout where you just use a couple of 20-pound dumbbells, and you start off by doing kind of like a push-up motion, but you're pulling up these bells, and then you're doing thrusters with it, split squats, etc. And there's a lot of versatility that you can utilize with just a couple of 20-pound dumbbells. Also, a couple of times a month or so, I'll walk around and do farmer carries where I carry these things alongside me when I'm doing my mile walk. And I'm telling you, it will really, your arms will notice it. When you carry 20 pounds in each hand for a long period of time, it's called a farmer's carry. And again, increases core stability by doing it, makes your forearms stronger, makes your grip strength stronger. So all around, not a bad little exercise. And they were expensive during COVID. I don't know how much. You might be able to find somebody that's selling some at a garage sale or something like that. If you see them, grab them. Pick them up. They feel like they're kind of challenging. Work on them a little bit. You might like them. So utilize that. Something else I found on a Prime Day sale was an ab roller, or it's a wheel. And the point of doing the wheel exercise is you get down on your knees and you extend that out with your arms straight, pull it back, and you go back and forth like that. And there's a real challenge on the core. So about 3 or 4 times a week, I'll do a little bit of a workout using the ab roller or the ab wheel, and it was really cheap on a Prime Day sale. So keep your eyes out open for them. You might find, any type of wheel will do. You don't have to get a big one like that. Just, find the cheapest wheel you can and watch a few videos on how to do that form properly. And you're going to find that it's going to do some really cool things to your core over time. I mean, look, I'm not going to get six-pack abs with that. I'm not buying that nonsense. But anything that creates more core stability and strength down there, that's what I want. I remember what my goals are. My goals are kind of simple. I want more muscle and strength, but I also don't want to injure myself. And I don't want to age badly. So, these little tricks that I throw in to help build up additional strength, it's not bad. That's why I keep doing this stuff. Now, the core of what I do for lifting are bands. And I've bought different sets. I've owned most of these. Like these I've had for over 5 years. And they work great. You check them every now and then to make sure they're not being frayed or anything. But for the most part, they last a long time, and they come in various widths. And the widths are really what's crucial to this, because that's how much resistance it has. In other words, this thicker purple band is going to have more resistance than this green band, and it's going to have more than this other one. And you can do a host of different exercises, and I'll show you next week the different uses that I put these things through to do an arm set and a leg set. But I think I got these on sale on Amazon for like 25 bucks, and I bought 2 sets over the years. And constantly looking for better quality ones, and ones, I bought some ones recently for about 50 bucks, which were even heavier resistance, because frankly, I'm getting stronger and I needed more. Now, when you're using bands, you can just use them by themselves. You can put it around your back and do pushing things, and put them over the door and do pull things and stuff like that. There's a lot of different stuff that you can do with them by themselves. But over the years, I found that getting different bars to go with them make a lot of sense. So my son got me this one for my birthday one year, and it's nice because it switches pretty darn easily, and it's a relatively small size, and it works real well for things like curls. So you can just put, stand on it, and it's a perfect curling size. It's also really good for pressing and stuff. So you can do a lot with it, and you don't have to put so much strain on your wrists that you do with just the regular bands. You're actually doing a pushing motion very similar to what you would be doing with a bar at the gym. So that's not a bad investment either. And I also bought a bigger bar, and this one is the one that I use for the heavier type weights, for bench pressing, deadlifts, things like that. And it's adjustable in that the ends screw off and stuff like that, so you can make it a smaller bar if you want to. But it also has this little part here at the top, and the reason why that little thing comes in handy is you can put these clips on it, or just put a clip on it, and you can utilize it when you hook it up to the door or something to your ceiling. And you can use it like you would a piece of gym equipment, like a cable row. So you can do the lat pull downs like this, pulling down on a bar. You can do tricep extensions, etc. And again, $20 piece. I don't have to worry about things that are going to break. I'm not that strong that I'm going to worry about breaking a bar, but I mean, this is a pretty solid piece of metal. Nice little heft to it. I'm not saying that, there's one is better than another. I'm just saying, look, just get, the best, cheapest piece of equipment. And all this stuff over the years has really only cost me a few $100. And you think about how much you spend at a gym membership, etc. And you kind of lose that money. I mean, if you're spending $20 or so a month at the gym, in 10 months, you can have a fully functional gym at your own home. Most of this stuff is, except for the weights, etc., kind of portable. It doesn't take a lot of space around the house by any stretch of the imagination. It's inexpensive. And it allows you to be able to work out at home. So if you're, a mom who can't get out, you don't want to spend the gas, you don't want to get dressed up, you're tired of, you're just not real comfortable with your body, and you don't want to be exercising in public, you can do it at home. And it doesn't cost it very much to be able to get a really good workout at home at a bargain price. So really, frankly, no excuses. You can do this type of stuff at relatively low cost. You don't have to get all this stuff at once. I mean, just, your kids, if you're over 50, your kids want to get you something for your birthday. And if you're not quite sure, what you want, because you don't know, tell me you want one of these. And, look it up, find some that you like online. These are really darn nice, heavy, nice metal. My son used them and he thought I'd like them too, and I do. And so we throw those into the workout schedule. Have them buy you a kettlebell of, a certain weight. So all these things work for you. Give it a shot. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. I try to put out a couple messages each week. Next week will be on different workouts. We'll talk to you later.